Perhaps you were expecting something different? If so, why?
Ys, the ideal utopia. Once a country so peaceful and prosperous. A country where children were as free as the wind. A country where harmony blew through the hearts of all men. Ys, a kingdom ruled by the wisdom and charity of its 6 powerful priests. An empire watched over and blessed by the enchanting aura of its 2 beautiful goddesses. Ys, the seemingly tranquil paradise, suddenly pulled from the height of its civilization to the empty abyss of infinite isolation. How could such a land of promise simply vanish from the face of the planet? How could such prosperity be forgotten? The legend has been silenced for over 700 years. And now, the mystery unfolds.
Oh hey, the boat actually made it this time. Yeah, this is the only version of Ys 1 and 2 where the boat actually makes it to Asteria intact. And that's because this is the Turbo CD version of Ys 1 and 2. It was actually one of the possible pack-in games for the Turbo CD. And I think it's a pretty strong opening offer. And here's Sarah. And one of the possible consequences of that is that this game has voice acting that's pretty head and shoulders above a lot of the other voice acting in localized CD games at the time. And that's because they got a bunch of actual, like, Saturday morning cartoon voice actors and a Saturday morning cartoon voice director. Okay. Sarah, being a responsible quest giver, won't let us actually go on an adventure unless we actually have armor and weapons. So one of the things about this version of Ys is that it actually has an odd combination of redone high-quality CD audio tracks as well as tracks from the original PC-88 version of the game. Like, this town theme, this is direct from the PC-88 version. And I'd actually wanted to do this version for a little while because... for a couple of reasons. First off, this is all based around the original PC-88 versions of Ys 1 and 2. Yeah, they call Rhea Lair in this version. It's one of those localization things. And the other is that this is probably the only version of Ys 1 and 2 that's kinda sorta done the way it was originally intended. That is, played entirely as just one long game. So, we learned about these, join a guy for a drink to learn about Rhoda seeds. Not your buddy, pal. Well, don't worry, we know who actually took it. Come on, this is a JRPG. Strange omens just mean nothing. The other thing is that this is actually the first complete version of Ys 1 and 2 that we got in the West. There had been localizations of Part 1 for the Master System and DOS and the Apple II GS, but none of them actually had Ys 2, which actually resulted in something interesting happening with the series in Korea, but I'm going to talk about that once we get to the Ys 2 part of this game. Anyway, Pim sold the silver armor to someone we don't like. Another thing about this version is that it has some different character designs. Pim does not look like that in any version of Ys 1 except this version. Oh yeah, because this game was also for the MSX2, Pim actually appears as one of the shopkeepers in La Mulana 2. We're not going to buy a weapon yet. I have plans for that. Let's see, get ourselves a shield. Yeah, the thing that kept me from doing this, though, is that the final boss of this version is a son of a bitch. Okay, because this is based on the older versions of Ys 1 and 2, more of your stats are definitely going to come from levels than equipment. Equipment doesn't give as large a stat boost to your stats as it does in the Ys 1 and 2 complete versions of the game. We're back to using the bump system, but the version used in Ys 1 and 2 is probably the most forgiving version, in that attacking an enemy head-on only provides the risk of damage instead of guaranteed damage like it does in Ys 1 and 2 complete. And since we don't have a sword, I just imagine Adol going, okay, I'm gonna walk forward swinging my arms like this, and if you monsters get hurt, it's your own fault. But I'm sure his Hoko Shinken is up to the challenge. The Ys 1 original overworld is much smaller than it is in Ys 1 and 2 complete. However, everything that's really crucial is still there. There didn't need to be that much space because there are only a few items of note that lay in between towns. So there wasn't a need for a huge overworld, even though the overworld music is pretty kick-ass. Right, we need to sell the thing to Pim first. Boy, I've played the... You know, there are probably going to be things that happen while I play through this that put a lie to the fact that I have played Ys 1 and 2 about 50 times. Well, here's your golden vase. We're gonna be buying it back from you in Mask of the Sun. As for actual gameplay, I think that as far as... playing older versions of Ys 1 and 2 go, this is as far back as you should go. Because between when I did Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles and this, I played through the PC-88 versions of Ys 1 and 2. And while Ys 1 is still more or less Ys 1, Ys 2, the original version, is roughly as grindy as your average grist mill. Yeah, Zeptic Village didn't originally have a unique town theme. It only really acquired one in Ys 1 and 2 complete, because in this game it uses Minea's town theme, and in the PC-88 version it just still used the Overworld theme, Last Step Towards Wars. Sure, we can keep the secret. By the way, I'm going to be taking a couple of jokes from Un's playthrough because some of them were too good not to steal. Okay. The thing about goons. Oh, the townspeople already know the bell has been stolen. The thing about Goons is that this game is kind of inconsistent in the way certain content was localized. Because sometimes the game will refer to the monsters as goons, and sometimes they'll refer to them properly as the demons. So because I am good at Ys 1 and 2, I actually forgot to talk to Sarah after getting everything I needed. Thankfully, we can speed up our movement and actually the entire game. There's just a go fast button in your menu. Beats having to fiddle with the emulator. I know absolutely nothing about the Books of Ys. Never heard of them before, ever. Okay, find the 6 Books of Ys. We can do that. We've done it before. We'll do it again. God, I went through a game with a whole bunch of combat skills and complicated skill leveling, and also through a game with tons of special weapons, and I've gone back to a game where I have no attack button. I still feel it's kind of a unique dynamic that you just move to attack instead of stop to attack. There are just sometimes I feel that there are games that have gotten too complicated for their own good. Yeah, we're gonna find those books. Let's see. It's not so much a shrine key as something that just, well, like, hey, I guess it's a key for a certain definition of key and a certain definition of door. By the way, when I say Saturday morning cartoon voice actors, we're not even really talking about Small Fry here. Our narrator was Alan Oppenheimer, who's been in a bunch of things, but most notably He-Man, as he provided the voice of Skeletor. And we're going to be hearing him again. There aren't that many voiced lines in this game compared to, like, nowadays, but they exist. Okay, Colin is this localization's name for Dogi. Jeez, Adol. Oh, what happened to you? Okay, atrocity is a pretty strong word, and secondly, I have no idea why anyone would want to steal all of our silver, and we're absolutely confounded as to why people took our diamonds, and we just can't guess why all of our platinum was stolen either. It's just a weird world out there. Ah, sweet CD audio. Of course, if you want to see another Saturday morning cartoon, my brother's playing through the entire Shining Force series. Okay, so I'm going to do what I did last time, and just grind up enough cash to get the plate armor before heading further in. this is, after all, still an Ys game, and as such, it is still very interested in killing me. Anyway, you notice that we got some experience from story events. This is something consistent with all versions of Ys 1 and 2, and the other thing that's consistent about them is that experience from story events or defeating bosses is not scaled to level. So you always get the same no matter how high your level is. And we are going to abuse this maliciously later. The other thing here is that, yeah, this is an Ys game, so there's going to be grinding. I'm not going to leave much of it on screen. When there are some real deep grind sessions, we're just going to off-screen that because no one needs to see that. Even though grinding is somewhat more painless in this game than it is in other RPGs. The thing is, monster experience didn't scale in Ys 1, but it does in this game's version of Ys 1 because it has to provide continuity with Ys 2. It's the result of everything being one big game. Oh, Rhoda Tree, huh? We're gonna have to check those out sometime. And there we go. Even though the equipment bonus is not large, I'm still going to need every point I can get. Like, the difference of a couple of points of attack means that even up to the final boss, it can mean the difference between a nearly impossible boss fight and a manageable one. The other thing I have to deal with is no diagonal movement. So, with all that aside, we're ready to face the first boss. Oh yeah, one of the other reasons I wanted to do this version is because this version of Ys 1 and 2 has by far the best version of Holders of Power, which was the Ys 1 boss music. By the way, a note about saving. You need to be careful where you save in this game, because if you save in a place where there's monsters, you might load on a monster tile, and that's basically the end of that save file. Not much different for Genosras. He still teleports, he still has the flame jets, and as you damage him, he just teleports faster. And down he goes. One of the big differences here is that bosses don't really have a thing called iframes, so as long as you're running into a boss, or the boss's weak point at least, you're going to be doing damage. We're going to set the speed to slower because there are monsters down here that can still wreck me even with the boosted equipment I picked up. Especially those guys over there. Okay, just do this real carefully or they will kill me. Being able to just adjust the game speed is just a big quality of life thing that I don't think I've really seen in any other action RPG like this. Not even in other versions of this particular Ys game. So we now have the key of prison. God damn it, Lagoon. Which means there is one thing we need to be doing.
Are you here to rescue me? How wonderful it would be to escape these chains. I have been locked up here for too long. My name is Fina.
This is Adol's text box, by the way. Yeah, in this version, Fina gives us the treasure box key, and we need to find the Mask of Eyes ourselves. And we don't need to escort her. Anyway, Fina is voiced by Debbie Derryberry, who, as far as I've managed to tell, has been in everything at all times forever. The rest of you can sort it all out. If you've watched things that are animated, you've probably seen something with her in it. Anyway, that's it for now, and next time we'll finish exploring the shrine. See you then. And goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.